Peg's in for Silvy. Say hello to Peggy, Mike.
Peggy, Tommy, how you guys doing?
Hey, Mike. How are you? Happy early Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Happy early Thanksgiving indeed.
What are you thankful for? Let's cut to the chase, Mike. What are you thankful for in the world of
Wow,
sports?
he's going deep right away.
Yeah.
Oh, you said in the world of sports.
In the world of sports,
We're giving it some context.
Yeah.
I'm thankful that I have had and continue to have a front row seat. And you guys know how this is. Peggy certainly knows how this is. I've had a front row seat and been able to peek behind the curtain for a long, long time. And having that access to people and to thoughts and to ideas and reactions, not just the action itself, but all the stuff that comes with it in an ancillary way. I'm grateful for having that, for having had that for all this time.
It's so funny you say that, Mike, because my kids were asking me to name the athletes that I covered. And I said, well, I was lucky. I got out of school, 85. I graduated in college, and it was the 85 Bears.
Yeah.
And so I went through all of the Bears players that I covered. And then I came home from ESPN. I came home from Bristol in 92. I said, well, I did the last 3 Bulls championships and talked about Michael Jordan and Dennis Rodman. And then I went down. I said, okay, Cubs World Series, White Sox World Series, 3 Blackhawks Stanley Cups. I mean,
It's been a good ride.
And now, look at what some of our colleagues, Tommy. Look at some of our colleagues. They have never covered a championship in Chicago. Like when you're in it, you love it, and you know this is great. But you really appreciate it after the fact when you realize that we've gone forever here in Chicago.
Yeah,
it feels like forever.
It's the people for me, and mine is not all in one place. I've luckily been able, yes, as a fan, well, as a reporter first, and then as a professional first, but as a fan, I've been able, like the Blackhawks ones, the Cubs in 16. I viewed that through the eyes of, yes, the training is the training. As you know, Peggy, it stays with you forever. But I've been able to see that as a fan. But just the relationships with people over the years, forged over the years, no matter where they were. And some of them people have never heard of, and they're with assistant coaches and trainers and, front office people. And whether it was Chicago or somewhere else, in my case, it was more often somewhere else, even with look, I got to see every conference finals and finals game in the front row that Michael Jordan ever played. Mm-hmm. And so I'll never forget that. But there's people along the way that don't necessarily have that fame or that shine that, so many of like I'm in a high school gym right now. My son is playing, for Gonzaga High School. It should be near and dear to Chicago now. That's the high school that gave us Caleb Williams. Yeah. I'm actually sitting under a Caleb Williams banner. And, the banner that is basically his retired number. And, there's high school coaches. There's high school coaches and people that you get to sort of meet along the way that win their own championships and have their own ups and downs. And so I'm thankful for all of it. Not just the big glossy shiny stuff. And God knows I'm thankful for that. But some of the I hate to say smaller, the lesser known daily goings on in sports, and I've had nearly a half century of it. I'm grateful for all of it.
Well, whether it's a Sonny Cox or a Dorothy Gators, you're right. Like those are the times when you're covering those high school teams. Yeah. And wow, you're right, Mike. That was a really good way to look back, and that was good to be thankful for that. I'm appreciative.
Absolutely.
You guys always love the reminiscing part of it. I think it's great.
I think it's part of growing up in Chicago.
Yes, I think it's awesome. I think it's fantastic. And here's hoping, Mike, to kind of bring this full circle to the here and now, after being in a sports drought for an extended period of time. But I'll ask you as a fan and also as a journalist, when you look at this Bears team, do you see an organization that has turned the corner in any way, or is at the very least pointed in the right direction?
Pointed in the right direction. I think pointed in the right direction. But I thought that coming into the season. And by the way, organizations can be pointed in the right direction, I think they are. And the results don't always demonstrate that, right? They don't confirm it. I think they're pointed in the right direction. I thought that, before the season started. I thought that a year ago or more. And as a fan, look, one of the things you can do when you've seen it for as many years, you can have a sense to tell people to enjoy the journey of it. Mm-hmm. You don't know what it's going to result in. Like, I enjoyed 2015 Cubs almost as much as I enjoyed 16 because that was the incubation, if you will. That, right. To beat the Cardinals in those playoffs, and even though we got swept by the Mets, that I remember coming to those games and getting to know Kyle Schwarber and Javi Baez and Rizzo then. And you could see that. Okay, so the same thing on the way up. And the Blackhawks, the burst through the door was quicker for them because it was like almost instantaneous. And to be able to, sit and listen and talk to Patrick Kane. And so in the 84 Bears, Tommy, I was around enough for that, to see, Wilbon. That was, it was late in the game for Walter, but it was early in the game for Richard and for Otis and for, so many guys on that team. So I want this to be that for these Bears. I don't know that. We don't know that. I felt I knew it for the Blackhawks and the Cubs. Mm-hmm. Felt I stone cold knew it. The Bears was a little more scary. Peggy knows about that because people thought, this is crazy when you think back on it. Peggy, you know this. People thought, Jordan can't win. He scores too much. Mm-hmm. No scorer has ever, they would point to years that Wilt led the league in scoring but didn't win. They point to years in which Baylor led the league in scoring but didn't win. And people thought and gave voice to Jordan not winning. Well, of course, it's preposterous. It seems like the stupidest thing. But in real time, you didn't know. And they lost to the Pistons 3 straight playoffs. And you're like, I'm starting to wonder about this. You look back on it, we can be grateful and thankful for every minute of it. But we didn't know. I felt I knew with a couple of teams that, by the time you got past the first three-peat, for the second three-peat, did you just feel you knew the Bulls were going to? Yeah, I did. I thought I knew because you felt they were superior and they knew more. And the reservoir of knowledge and experience and expertise and all of that was going to lead them to more championships. But don't take this stuff for granted. So I hope these Bears, I was just sitting here with my nephew Jordan, and we're talking about how worried we are about Sunday with the Eagles. So and Tommy, you've been in this predicament. So what's the Eagles' mindset? What are they? Are they reeling? Are they in revenge mode? Do they just want to kill the Bears and take it out? And do they have the wherewithal to do that? Are they that team from last year, or are they that team from a couple of years ago? They fell apart.
I think, Mike, the answer is I don't know, because I think their level of dysfunction is unlike something that they've experienced in a while. Like their first month of the season last year was up and down. They were calling for Sirianni's, job after the first month. But then they got everything pointed in the right direction, and they became the machine that they were, leading them to the Super Bowl and to the victory. I watch them now, and I think their offense is broken. I think their defense isn't as vicious, and I don't know if they have that cohesion. It seems like an unhappy household right now. And normally after losing a game like they did to the Cowboys in the fashion they did, that would be a battle cry.
A bounce, yes.
And you would fear the hell out of that team because you know that they – but I don't know. Listen, I'm not close enough to know the kind of the fabric of that team. I know that they turned it around last year early, but this team feels different. They look different, and I don't know that they have that same kind of quality in them that they had last year. So it's a hard question to answer.
Tommy, it's amazing it could be lost that quickly or bounce around like it did from 2 years ago to obviously when they had the losing streak. They've gone Super Bowl losing streak, Super Bowl, and apparent dysfunction now. And I don't, so the Bears get thrown in the middle of that Friday in a short week with a lot of injuries, and I don't know what to make of it. It's not a must game. for the Bears don't have any must games. This is not that season.
Oh, this is house money to me, this game. Like, if you go to Philadelphia, you're supposed to lose.
Oh, my goodness. If you can win this game and continue it going, then you get Cleveland at home. So there's some, and yes, first of all, that changes your whole outlook. And how when I am around teams, like you mentioned, not being around teams, it's tough to get a handle on what it is they think of themselves.
Oh, they're 10 foot tall and bulletproof if you ask them right now, and that's a good thing. I don't say that in a bad way.
No. I get that, and so it's great to be able to be close enough to observe it. And I'm not traveling the league every week like I used to have a sense of what's going on in various locker rooms. But this 7 out of 8. No, 8. What is it?
8 of 9 now.
8 of 9. And it's a reversal of last year, the exact same reversal, and that it all started with and involved Washington. And I don't know what to make of some of you almost never in any sport see a team that is minus on the season.
Yeah.
And this far above 500 and in first place in the division.
They're minus 3 point differential at 8 and 3.
Minus 3.
Yeah.
And that's crazy. And you also don't see some of the other statistical indicators, 28th to 32nd in every defensive metric.
Yes.
Just about, except takeaways. But then again, takeaways can overwhelm everything else. And right now for the Bears, it does. So I'm looking at all this thinking, you know what? I'm going to stop this. I decided this time. Notice I was low on the crazy text messaging meter.
Yes, you were.
With you and Silvy. I just decided
sit back and enjoy
the last 3 weeks to just enjoy it. Right. Yeah. And as you know, from my text, I did not really enjoy the previous weeks. I was nuts. And I decided, no. I'm going to watch this, and whatever happens. Now, I don't know that I was that way when Pittsburgh was driving, looking like they had a chance to take the lead in that game. But I'm trying to look at this a little differently and just see the ride for what it is the players and coaches must see it for. And they ought to feel good about themselves. It's hard to win. Mm-hmm. It's hard to win some of these road games, and they've done that. To win at Washington, win at Cincinnati, I don't care what those teams look like now. They look fairly formidable as you came into the season. So this is a hell of a crossroads the Bears find themselves at on this Thanksgiving weekend.
But Mike, don't just feel like it's the Bears are these one-score games. This is getting ridiculous. I just want to see them blow it out. This is the NFL this year. There's been 47 games decided by a game-winning score in the final 2 minutes of the game or overtime. It's the most in NFL history. Yeah. So that is the NFL today.
Peggy, and to me, it's a fascinating NFL for the reasons you just stated. I mean, look at the Lions-Giants game the other day. I'm talking about the Giants. How many games? The Giants have lost, off the top of my head, 4 of those, including the Bears and the crazy game in Denver, and they lose to Detroit. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, my God, the Lions could be 2 games behind the Bears. But neither game was decided. They could have been tied. And so, you look at these, it is the entire NFL. I like it this way. I love seeing it this way. You don't know what's going to happen. Every game is entertaining as hell. The Cardinals. I mean, the Cardinals have had a couple of games. They had a game with the Packers, like the one they had this week with Seattle, that you cannot take your eyes off what's going on. And by the way, the setup for Thursday, Friday could not be juicier. Yeah. It cannot be any more tantalizing than it is with Chiefs at Cowboys and Packers, Lions. That that doubleheader is about as good as it gets for Thanksgiving Day.
Are you good with that? And then a Black Friday game as well, or do you think the NFL's just getting too big for their britches?
I think the Black Friday game was a waste. I think that just puts. We don't know. We're going to see on another short week for certainly, in terms of the Bears, with, guys you'd love to give a day and a half more to get back in and of course, they did not practice today, right? They just like a
walkthroughs all week.
Yeah. So, I mean, we don't know what they're going to walk into, down 6 starters, then 8. we don't know. I mean, what are they going to do? Call, Singletary and Wilbon and Otis back in to play linebacker? It looked to me a couple of times like I thought Brisker was actually lined up at linebacker.
Yeah.
Am I wrong about that?
No, they drop him in the box quite a bit.
And he's big enough and strong enough and athletic enough and tough enough to do it. So I just thought I looked, I saw and I was like, whoa, where's Brisker lined up? And so, no, the league, of course, all leagues go too far. They all let, greed dictate everything they're going to do with very little, if any, discretion. So you don't need a Friday game. If you wanted to do a Saturday, I guess you could, but no, you got one more week of college football. Yeah. So no, just put the damn games on Sunday, Thursday and Sunday, and leave them alone. But they couldn't do that.
Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Monday.
Hey,
Welcome to the NFL.
Speaking of Otis and those guys, The Shuffle is airing tonight on HBO Max.
Oh, wow.
The documentary on the Super Bowl Shuffle, which, is the largest genre now. Wow. In movie making is documentary. It used to just be that's what you watched in school when your teacher was out sick. Now it's like everyone. My husband is just obsessed with the documentaries. So, anyways, it feels like I can't believe there's a documentary about this team because
I can't either.
Like they're our age. These are the guys that they're contemporaries.
We know them all for years and years and years, and it's just I remember, the Shuffle. I remember thinking, no, why are they doing this in real time? And of course, like everybody else, I was won over by it. And you talk about a time in Chicago at the time because I remember, Peggy, you must remember this too, in 85, some of those Sundays, and I haven't asked him about it lately, but Michael would be on the sideline. He'd have a sideline pass, and he's in a puffy coat on the sideline of those Bears games. And then, he's got a game maybe even later Sunday night. And the Bulls are just starting that's his rookie year, and they're just we're just starting to figure out who they are. And he and Oakley would, I think, be on the sideline of the Bears sideline at Soldier Field. And they're, looking up with adoring eyes at Walter Payton. And it was an intoxicating time. And I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it and enjoy it. I care much more. There's a lot of video out there right now. I'm not sure where it's coming from. There's a lot more video you can find on social media with the Bears.
I was going to ask you both. What do you remember? I mean, obviously, the Super Bowl, and there were so many defining moments. But what do you remember most about that 85
Cowboys,
season?
44-0.
Okay. Danny
White getting knocked out of the game. Steve Pallor getting knocked out of the game. Danny White on the sideline with Tom Landry saying, "I'm not going back in." To me, that's the greatest Bears victory of all time. 44-0 in Texas Stadium over a Dallas team that won its division. That team won its division. That wasn't some 5-11 Cowboys team that lost its way. That's Tom Landry's division-winning Cowboys team that had their own aspirations for winning a Super Bowl. 44-0. I just remember people got knocked out of that game so frequently, you couldn't even have that game anymore. The whole Bear roster would be penalized into suspension. The hits that were delivered in that game. And so, that's my favorite game. I don't know if it's the greatest performance. And I'd like to be able to ask guys, when I see Richard all the time and Otis, and I talk to those guys, I feel very fortunate to be able to pick their brains all the time. But also when I do run into Covert and other guys, was that the most impressive victory? Was that their favorite victory? I know the Vikings game was dramatic and all that, but Tommy, you then share the locker room with these guys.
Oh yeah.
Where does that Dallas game rank in their minds? Like I have it.
I don't. I got to be honest with you. I don't know. I caught them all in '89 and later.
Yeah.
So the glow of the Super Bowl years had come and had gone. But I listen. I was a freshman at Boston College in '85. What I remember most is watching that team do whatever they wanted to do defensively to people.
Yeah.
Yeah. They scared people. They dismantled people. I mean, Joe Theismann, who I've come to know well and covered Joe in his Super Bowl winning years in Washington. Joe Theismann, we were on a golf course, 15 years ago, and Joe says, out of nowhere, I still have nightmares about playing the Bears. And I just laugh, and Joe says, no, you're not listening to me. I have nightmares. And so we're on the golf course. He closes his eyes, puts the golf club down, closes his eyes, and he names position right to left. He names everybody.
Wow.
And he goes through. And he closes his eyes. You can see he's serious. And, of course, I remember that game because Joe in that game had a -1 yard punt. The punter, Jeff Hayes, the Bears knocked him out of the game. He was the kickoff special. He was a place kicker and punter. The Bears knocked him out on special teams, I think, on the opening kick. Joe has a -1 yard punt in the wind because he has to punt, which he did, I guess, at Notre Dame occasionally. He punts the ball back over his own head for -1. And I believe, and you guys can check this, and you can say I'm crazy and my memory fails me. It might. I believe, Peggy, that's the game that Walter had 1 yard rushing, his career worst rushing day, but 1 yard rushing, 1 yard passing, touchdown to McMahon, 1 yard receiving, touchdown from McMahon.
Oh, my gosh.
I believe that's the same day. And Joe just talks about the terror of having to face, and he would just say, McMichael, Hampton, Dent, Fridge, Otis, Mike, Wilbur. He'd go through it. And I'm like, Joe, you're serious? He goes, no, I wake up like in the middle of the night with night terrors from looking at the 46 defense.
That's
the stuff that I remember.
Not that it needs any clarity added to it, but in that season, in the regular season, that defense allowed 10 or fewer points, 11 of 16 games. And then in the postseason, pitched 2 shutouts and held the Patriots to 10 points. So over the entirety of the season, in regular and postseason, 14 of the 17 games they played, they allowed 10 or fewer points.
Wow.
Watching the defense was so much more fun that I don't realize, and I know the defense produced or led to a lot of points. I think the Bears led the league in points scored that year.
I believe you're right.
4 something. It was a crazy number. And I know there were pick sixes, and you can see guys running into the end zone after all kind of special teams plays out. But the defense was such that to watch them just rain terror. And I know the Cowboys that wasn't the only game, the 44-0 game. But again, so if you ask me what name my favorite 10 sporting events in the history of Chicago sports, I'm older than both of you, and I can go back a long, long way. I can go back to when I was a tiny little kid and seeing Sayers and Butkus. If you ask me to rank the top 10 events, I'm going to put that 44-0 Cowboys beatdown in there.
Love it.
Wow. Well,
when you have guys begging to stay out of the game, that's going to rank for me.
Michael, as we let you go, I just want you to think about this tonight when you watch the Super Bowl Shuffle documentary, that it reached number 41 on the Billboard Top 100 and was nominated for a Grammy in Best R&B. Now, I don't know what that says. R&B in the 80s had some issues?
That ain't any kind of R&B that I'm used to, and that's my genre, okay? I'm not even including that. It was a freak show, like the team, like the performance, there was nothing else like it. So, yeah, I'm going to sit back with some eggnog and watch that tonight.
There you go. Mike, thanks so much for your time as always. Happy Thanksgiving to you and your crew.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Mike Wilbon, love you. Love your conversations. Love our talks. All right, when we come back, A-list, is that what we got? Aki's A-list? We'll do that when we return. Peg's in for Silvy.